There is a number that almost everyone on Earth secretly understands. Say it in the right crowd and people just grin. It's on t-shirts, in songs, whispered like a password around the world. And once a year, an entire global holiday quietly revolves around it. But here's the strange part, almost nobody knows where it actually came from. And the true story is way dumber and way better than you'd ever guess. Because it all started with 5 bored teenagers and a treasure map. The number, of course, is 420. Today, it's shorthand for cannabis all over the planet. April 20th is treated like a worldwide unofficial festival. But before we get to the truth, we have to clear away the myths. Because over the years, people invented dozens of fake origin stories. Myth number 1, that 420 is a secret police radio code. As in, officers supposedly radioed it in when they caught someone with weed. Totally false. No police force ever used that code. Myth number 2, that it's the number of chemicals in the cannabis plant. Also false. Scientists have counted the compounds and it's simply not that number. Myth number 3, that it comes from a Bob Dylan song. Fans noticed 12 times 35 equals 420. Cute, but no. There are even weirder ones tying it to random dates and celebrities. All of them made up long after the fact. The real story has nothing to do with codes, chemicals, or rock stars. It has to do with a wall, a statue, and a map to buried treasure. So, let's go back to where it truly began. The year is 1971. The place, San Rafael, California, just north of San Francisco. At the local high school, there was a group of 5 friends. Regular kids, athletes, jokers, the type who hung out after class. And they had a favorite spot to lean and talk, a particular wall. So they gave themselves a name. They called themselves the Waldos. Not after a cartoon, just because they were always hanging by that wall. Among them were friends named Steve, Dave, Jeff, Larry, and Mark. Ordinary teenagers with absolutely no idea they were about to make history. Then, one autumn, they heard an irresistible rumor. Story went like this. A member of the Coast Guard had secretly planted a cannabis patch in the woods, hidden away in the forest near Point Reyes along the wild California coast. But there was a problem. The grower couldn't tend his secret crop anymore. So, the rumor said, he had drawn a map to it. An actual treasure map marking exactly where the crop was buried in the trees. And somehow, that map made its way into the hands of the Waldos. 5 teenagers, 1 treasure map, a secret prize hidden in the forest. Obviously, they had to go find it. But there was a logistics problem. School. They all had classes, and most of them had sports practice afterward. So they needed a set time and place to meet up and go searching. Their meeting spot was a statue outside the school. A statue of the French scientist Louis Pasteur. And the time they picked was 4:20 in the afternoon. Late enough for practice to end, early enough for daylight in the woods. So in the hallways, they'd remind each other with a code phrase. 420 Louis, meaning meet at 4:20 by the Louis Pasteur statue. Over time, they got lazy and dropped the Louis part. It became just 420. A tiny piece of private teenage code, their little inside joke. And every day they showed up at the statue, ready for the hunt. They'd pile into an old car. Map in hand, windows down, they'd rattle off toward the coast. They followed the map into the forest near Point Reyes. Checking the map, arguing over which way the X really pointed. And after all that searching, they found nothing. No secret crop, no buried treasure, just trees. So naturally, they figured they'd just read the map wrong. And they came back, again. 420 at the statue, pile in the car, back to the woods. Different trail this time. Surely this was the spot. Nope, nothing again. Week after week, the ritual continued. Meet at 420, drive out, search, find nothing, go home. They were, and this is the beautiful part, terrible treasure hunters. The greatest cannabis legend in history is built on a hunt that failed. They never found the crop, not once, ever. But something funny happened along the way. The phrase stuck. 420 became the Waldos' private word for all things weed. One kid could just say 420 and everyone knew what he meant. It was efficient, it was theirs, and it was invisible to teachers and parents. Now, a private joke between 5 friends should have stayed just that. So how did it escape San Rafael and conquer the entire planet? The answer is one of the most legendary bands in history. The Waldos had real connections to the Grateful Dead. One friend's older brother was close with the band's bass player. Another Waldo ended up working around the band directly. And in the 70s, the Grateful Dead were a traveling world of their own. Their devoted fans, the Deadheads, followed them from city to city. And wherever they went, they carried the slang with them. 420 rode along, tour after tour, city after city. San Rafael in joke was quietly going nationwide. Then, in the early 1990s, it got its biggest break. An editor at a famous cannabis magazine caught wind of the phrase. He started printing 420 in the magazine again and again. And once it was in print, it went truly global. From 5 teenagers by a wall to a word the whole world knew. But here's where most legends usually fall apart. When something gets this famous, everyone claims they invented it. So, could the Waldos actually prove it was them? Amazingly, yes, because they were pack rats. They had kept old letters and flags from the early 70s. Real artifacts scribbled with 420 postmarked from back then. Physical, dated evidence from before anyone else was even using the term. Today, those precious artifacts are locked away in a bank vault. So this origin story isn't just a legend, it's documented. 5 ordinary kids really did coin the most famous number in the world. And when you step back, the whole thing is wonderfully absurd. A global phenomenon born from a treasure hunt that completely failed. They went looking for a crop they never found, and accidentally named a piece of history instead. So the next time you hear that number and see someone quietly grin, remember 5 bored teenagers, a wall, a statue, and a map to nowhere. They were just looking for a little adventure after school. If you love history that's true, strange, and told to you straight, subscribe. We've got a whole world of it. See you in the next one.